Hello, my name is Dr. Jonathan Oates, Archivist for the London Borough of Ealing. Welcome to another in the series of Ealing Library's local history YouTube videos. Today it's Monday the 11th of August and we're standing by Southall War Memorial by Southall Manor House on the Green. Today I'll be talking about VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day, which took place on the 15th of August 1945, so almost exactly 80 years ago today. Now VJ Day is important because it marks the end of the Second World War, 1939 to 1945. It's often thought that VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, which was celebrated on the 8th of May 1945 and on subsequent centenaries, including early this year, is more well known and more celebrated. This is probably because, for Britain at least, the war in Europe was more close to hand. It was more dangerous, more men were involved in the war, whereas the fighting in the Far East, Asia, was seen as being more distant, and the men fighting there were known as the Forgotten Army. But VJ Day is important to remember, and it's important to remember the celebrations which took place in this local borough in 1945 as well. We should remember that 58 families in Southall in 1945 had relatives who were serving in the forces at that time. So for those families and for many more people, it was not forgotten, it was important. And a local newspaper reported that VJ Day, Victory in World War II, was an achievement for which history will accord us due honour. Now, although VJ Day began at the very beginning of midnight on the 14th to the 15th of August 1945, there was not much sign of local celebrations until the evening of that day. The Mayor of Ealing cut short his holiday to return to make a public pronouncement about the events of that day, and he was making that in Ealing Town Hall. In Southall, on the 15th of August, children were collecting firewood to make bonfires in the evening. It was of course school holidays and all the children, evacuees, were back home by this time. This led to bonfires being built in streets in Southall and elsewhere in which effigies of the Japanese leaders were being burned. There were 2 bonfires, for example, in Hanborough Road alone. There were even reports locally of fireworks being thrown by children, but thankfully no one was injured in this throwing of fireworks. Also in Southall, at the town hall, the flags of the 3 major Allied powers, Great Britain, the United States of America and the Soviet Union, were hauled above Southall Town Hall. Probably the only time that the Soviet Union flag has been hauled above a town hall in Ealing. Public halls in Southall were opened to be used for dancing and singing, and the Mayor of Southall went to at least 2 of these that evening. Elsewhere in Ealing, the main celebrations focused on the Ealing Broadway and Ealing Green. Hanwell's Silver Band played the national anthem and Land of Hope and Glory. A local dance band played Doing the Lambeth Walk and other popular favourites for people to sing along to and dance to. Erica Ford was a young lady from Ealing who kept a diary during World War II, and on this day she wrote, "Today, VJ Day, hundreds of people going home after starting for work not knowing. Crowds dancing on the green. Floodlighting on the Great West Road. Bonfires down every side street. Fire engines turned out the next day. Dancers under the covered way, and it became quite crowded and jolly. Crowd from outside joined when the rain stopped. We were able to go out into the yard. We should note that Erica Ford worked in the canteen of the fire service at this time. Elsewhere in Acton, there were many bonfires in the street south of Uxbridge Road, and the local newspaper wrote, "All South Acton might have been on fire." The town hall was lit up and there was bunting everywhere. Streets were floodlit and there were dancers in the streets, to which a few people objected. There were children's parties, as had happened after VE Day, and one occurred in Southall on St Peter's Road. There was a fancy dress competition, music provided by a pianist, a saxophonist and a conjurer and a comedian were entertainers. There were even men dressed up as animals for part of the festivities. Now, so to conclude, victory over Japan Day marked the end of World War II. It was a very important landmark in history. But now the challenges of global war were over, the challenges of peace and reconstruction were just beginning. Anyone wanting to know more about this topic can contact me at Ealing Local History Library to look at diaries, newspapers and other primary sources for evidence for what happened. This is just a short summary. But thank you for watching. Please remember to like, to subscribe and to comment down below. Thank you for your time.